Hey everyone, my name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. If you like making money and you want to subscribe to a really cool channel, this is the channel for you, so subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Today we're going to talk about ratio investing, and if you guys have any questions on this, leave it in the comment section below. So I'm going to go over ratio investing, which is my experience with ratio investing. I'm going to go over some examples of when I swap metals and my experience with the dealer swapping metals. So I know a lot of people have concerns. I read it in the comment section about premiums and all that stuff. I'll touch on that. So I'm going to go over ratio investing here in this presentation. And I'm going to give you my experience. I purchased palladium back in the early to mid 2000s, mainly in the mid 2000s. I saw the ratio for palladium to other metals. It changed. It got expensive over time here recently. And I was looking to see when I would swap it back out. So I'd be swapping palladium into something else. So I swapped my palladium for another metal when that ratio got expensive for palladium. I'm going to show you when it got expensive. I'll show you when I bought it when it was cheap, and I'll walk you through what I did. So I'm going to walk you through why I swapped my metals, why I purchased them, and the process of swapping them at a dealer. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over why I bought palladium. So this is the platinum to palladium ratio. This is 2005, and I was buying it in this circle area in here. I think I bought some in here too, but it was mainly in this area in here, which is 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. And the ratio was 4 ounces of palladium to 1 ounce of platinum. And it was extremely cheap for palladium. So I was like, well, I'll buy some. I didn't know much about palladium at the time, but I bought some because the ratio was cheap. So I was holding palladium in that time frame. And then I noticed and was watching it, because if you look over here, I'll step back here. If you go over here, the ratio was compressing, and it was coming way down, and we were under 1. And I was like, man, this is getting close to a sell point. So this is another chart of the platinum to palladium ratio. It was coming down. I was charting this out and saying, man, we're going to break this downtrend. Just let it go. And then we had the COVID sell-off. And I was like, man, that is the catalyst, I think, for a bottom in platinum, because all of the industrial metals sold off very hard. Platinum and silver got sold off way down. So I had palladium, and I was like, well, it's really cheap to platinum when this sell off. So I was looking down here to purchase or to swap palladium to platinum. But I also had silver as an option. So this is historical. Look at it. This is averages, keep in mind. And this was super cheap back in the early 2000s, that palladium to silver ratio. And palladium, 1 ounce could buy 140 ounces of silver. And if you look at the palladium to silver ratio in real time, in the March timeframe, the February, March, April timeframe, we have a double top. And it topped at 160 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of palladium. So silver was extremely cheap. So what I was going to do is I was going to swap it into platinum and silver. That was my plan, to swap my palladium in the March timeframe. March and April. It was right after the crash was April. So it was the April timeframe. And I was looking at that, and I just wanted to show you kind of also that palladium is expensive to gold as well. You can see this thing coming back down, and it was getting expensive. So palladium was expensive also to gold. And this is the gold to palladium ratio. In that time frame, it was expensive. Palladium was expensive to gold. So palladium was expensive to all the other metals. So I was like, let's just swap this thing. Why not? Why not swap it? So I also had a platinum to gold ratio because I did have some gold as well. And up here, this is typically what a high ratio would be. So that's 1 ounce of platinum could buy over 2 ounces of gold. And we were all the way down here. And this is what it looked like in that swap period, was all the way down at 0.4. I was like, God, this is cheap. This is a huge opportunity, because gold is very resilient in market crashes. It doesn't really move down that much. Platinum had got sold off really hard. Same with silver. They both did. So I thought there was a huge opportunity there. So what I did, this is kind of my actions out of this, is I swapped some of my gold holdings to platinum. because of the ratio I just showed you. This ratio right here got extremely cheap. It got all the way down to 0.4. And 0.4 is below this line. It went all the way off the chart of the past, all the way back to 1971. It was off the chart to the bottom side. And again, the gold to palladium ratio was cheap, so I was swapping palladium out. And the two that I liked were silver because of how cheap it was at 160, and because of the low valuation against platinum, which was 0.35, and 0.35 is off the chart as well. So we had extreme valuations for all these metals. So what I did is I swapped all of my palladium holdings to platinum. And platinum is a substitute metal for palladium. There's no reason that I wouldn't swap it, because I know I'm a precious metals investor, and you need to know this stuff, that palladium is a substitute, or that platinum is a substitute for palladium. Palladium was a substitute for platinum because palladium was so cheap, but now platinum's a substitute for palladium. And I also am looking at this and swapping it because of the ratio. So I also, keep in mind, I also own personally a bunch of silver, and I decided that I wanted more platinum to diversify my holdings and have more platinum exposure. And this is the previous, this is the previous performance of platinum versus gold. And you can see the outperformance of platinum in doing the swap back here, which is vastly outperforming gold. And that's why you want to do it, the swap. So the swap is working. Now, silver in the March-April timeframe, I couldn't get any in April, and the premiums were really, really high. Platinum was much more reasonable, so I swapped into platinum at that time, and I had to wait a while to get the platinum as well. So to give you some more information on the dealer and how that went, how that transaction went out. So I had the physical metal. I took the physical metal into the dealer. I walked in the front door, went up to the counter, and what they did is they checked they had a little checker, a machine that would check the purity of the gold. They checked all of the gold that I had, and it was all good. The machine said it was pure, and it was all good. So we negotiated, and I negotiated over the phone before I went in there to see if it was worth swapping. At that time, gold and silver they had very large premiums because people were going in and just buying the living heck out of it because it was so cheap. Silver was a larger premium. Gold had some premium, especially the American Eagles. I didn't have Eagles. I just had the regular gold bars, and they gave me a good deal on them. They gave me a little bit over spot even. Now, I got a good deal on the platinum too. They gave me a discount because I was working with them. I was swapping my metals, which hardly anyone was selling. I swapped gold for platinum, and they gave me a good deal on that transaction to really lower the premium difference. I think I only ended up spending $5 or $10 difference between my gold, giving them my gold, and buying the platinum on a per ounce basis. It was a very good deal, I thought. And remember, the prices were very cheap back then. It was like $700 an ounce for platinum. So I had a very good deal to do that. So I went in there, I gave them my gold. They gave me store credit. Then I used that store credit to purchase the platinum at the negotiated premium prices between these two. I agreed to it, and then I had to wait some weeks. It was good a month or two to get the platinum in because it was back ordered and they didn't have it, and it was the COVID shutdowns and all that garbage. But I had to wait a while for the platinum to come in, and it was a decent amount of platinum too. So they didn't have it on hand. I had to deal with. They took the gold to sell it for themselves, and then I had to work with another dealer or distributor that they worked with to get the platinum into the dealer. The dealer then they accepted the platinum. They put it in their safe. It was at their safe in their store, and then they called me up over the phone. I said, "Yep, I can come in. I'll pick it up." I went in there, picked it up. I think I had a small amount of cash that I had to pay because I rounded up. So I had so much, and then I rounded up to the nearest whole amount. I gave them the remaining cash for that last. I brought a quarter of an ounce that I had to pay for, or half ounce or whatever it was. Gave them the cash, cleared the deal. Everything was done. and then I got my metals. I didn't have to pay any taxes or nothing in terms of sales tax on that transaction, the sales tax. So that's the deal there. That's how it worked. It was extremely easy. It took 30 minutes, 40 minutes to do the entire transaction at the store. That's all it took. I walked out 4 to 6 weeks later, whenever it came in, I can't remember the exact timing, with a bunch of platinum, physical platinum, and then brought it to where I store it. So that's my personal experience with it. It was extremely easy. I had no problems doing it, and I negotiated the premiums at the dealer because I was bringing him metal, and they needed the metal pretty bad. I could negotiate pretty well, and platinum was dirt cheap. I mean, it was dirt cheap. I got over 2 ounces of platinum for 1 ounce of gold, and over 2 ounces of platinum. I think it was almost 3 for 1 ounce of palladium could buy 2 point something ounces of platinum. So that was a huge deal too. I mean, it was a massive deal. I feel like I lucked out quite well. I did very well with that transaction. Now, why did I swap? Why did I want to swap at that ratio? And the reason, the ratios were cheap, but whenever you have panic, that it's everything sold off. So there was a couple of positive things here. One, they needed the metal because I saw the demand went up. 2, the prices were cheap, which made the transactions cheaper, and the premiums were cheaper because usually the premiums is a percentage of the cost of the metal. 3, we were under the mid-cost producers. I said, this has got to be the bottom for platinum. It's got to be. So, and if you chart things, whenever you have something just dive down like it did, and you can see that on the ratio, here, I'll show you real quick here. This ratio that I'm talking about, see how it dives down so much? I was like, this has got to be the bottom. And remember, I'm in these markets. I watch this stuff, and I'm a professional at physical precious metals, basically. So this is what I know. This is what I put my thumb on and keep my thumb on the pulse to see when things should be traded. That's when I performed it. I said, this is a really good spot to be doing it because the premiums were low. I can negotiate the metal, and the spike down means that we were below the mid-cost producers, which is like, it's like a win on all accounts that I could have. And typically I don't like swapping metals. Like, I don't want to give my metal away. I'm kind of like holding on to it until there's a really good opportunity. This was a good opportunity, and I said, let's do it right now. And that's when I did it. That's when I swapped all the metals. My experience was extremely positive. It was extremely easy. I had no problems. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comment section. I do this. This is part of 33% of my net worth is swapping these metals and doing this stuff. I researched the living heck out of it over time, and I know this stuff inside and out. At least that's what I think. And that's how I make a lot of my money, is doing exactly this. If you guys like this content, subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up, and I appreciate you guys listening. This is Finding Value.